So finding an image for the thumbnail that had the original costume is almost damn impossible unless you want him in some sort of weird pose. I like the just walking forward. I was hoping, as far as like the first issue, I kind of wanted the walking out of the doorway thing. I think that looked awesome, but it didn't happen. So I used this, and also finding the font. It's all video game, man. It's all the video game that you can find now. So, yeah. But hey, you know what? At least Shadowman of the Valiant universe, Shadowman is the one that seems to have broken free and into somewhat of a public conscience.
Yeah. Although granted with Shadowman, well, the focus shifts from Jack Boniface to the acclaimed Valiant Shadowman.
That's true. That is true. But it is still Shadowman.
Yeah.
I do remember playing the game, by the way, when it came out on. I think it was on
Nintendo 64.
I had it on Genesis, not Genesis. What was that one where Codename Veronica first appeared? Sega something or other. But it was the last machine they ever made.
Dreamcast?
That's it. That's where I remember playing Shadowman. It was a badass game. I loved it. Hello to Dark Admiral. What's up?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like that game has been remastered after all these years.
Yeah, it's
or at least added into a digital collection where people can play it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would go back and I would play that game again. I'm having fun with this. I'm happy we're doing this where we're going back and we're reading books because I know Zach wouldn't be in the stream, but I can't put my finger on why. Actually, he's more than welcome to. One thing, this has been a me and Dom and Dominic, me and Dom and Dalton. I just said you twice. That's what I was talking about backstage about memory, dude. I don't normally share out with the others, with the sports ball and comics.
Well, I think you should, and there's no harm in it.
Okay. All right.
Well, really, with Shadowman, and as well as the other characters of the original Valiant universe, you would think after Valiant was brought back in 2012, they would actually put in the effort in reprinting classic Valiant, so people can actually read them, to the new fans and even the long time fans of Valiant.
Hi, me. This is my friend Dom and my other friend Dom. Oh, laugh at that, Dom. It's an old person's joke. There's a show called Bob Newhart, and there were this characters. They were handymen, and anytime Bob would call them in, they'd walk in. I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. This is my other brother Daryl. And it became a thing every time they show up. Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother. And that was their gimmick, to the point where one time they walk in and the first Daryl isn't there. He literally goes, "Hi, I'm Larry. This is my other brother Dale." He actually took the pause and then said it was really funny. Anyway, yeah, check it out if you can. I just came back from the theater, first time seeing Sunset Boulevard. Ooh, good movie. Good movie. Haven't seen that in about 30 years. All righty. Mondays. I'm not going to put a time. At some point on Monday, it seems like some point in time, Dom, Dalton, and I have been getting together, and we've been talking about old comics. A lot of times we're talking about old, obscure comics, things that may have passed people by, things that are about 20 to 30 years old and such. We've covered Rune. We've covered a couple of we covered Mantra 2 weeks ago. We've done Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. So we're just wanting to read and talk about comics because you know what? It's a comic book channel, not just a comic book cover channel. So it's kind of cool to actually talk about these things. I think it may just be me, but I don't think it is. What have we talked? Camelot 3000. That was fun. Dick Tracy. Mm-hmm. So by all means, check out the check out the past episodes as well. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Shadowman. Now, I read the first 3 issues. I wanted to do the first story. I went to read the issue number 4, and it leads right into Unity. And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess the story at least is paused for now, if not done. This is from Valiant Comics a long, long time ago, back in the 90s. I cannot freaking believe it's been 30 years. I talk to my wife. I say, you know what? I'm too young to be this old. That is the way I'm feeling, Dom. I'm telling you. You'll get there. Hopefully you'll get there. But there's just this feeling like, yeah, I am way too young to be this old. But I was thinking, holy crap, this is 30 years old now. That is something. Okay, let me expand it a little bit. Hello to Undead Quinn. Drama.
Hey, Quinn.
Yep. Drama and Black Pill sells better. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Alrighty. So, goodness gracious. Do you want to give an overview or something before we get into like what's going on? Or you know what? Let's just get going. I'm not gonna go point by point and read the book and all that kind of stuff. That might be saved for a comic book origin. But we start, and this is Jack Boniface, and that's how we. Because I for the longest time I was reading it as Jack Boneface. I know, right? And it made sense because when he gets a mask, it looks like it's a bone face. So I thought, okay, I was right. On this reread, I was like, okay, dumbass, it's Boniface or Boniface or whatever. So
Boniface.
Yeah. Dalton has got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so he's sitting this one out there on Dead Quinn. Yeah, so we see him, and he is a jazz musician, obviously saxophone, as you see here. And all throughout his playing, he's mentioning or thinking about this woman here who is coming in.
Lydia.
Oh, Lydia. Say, have you met Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady. Right. And it's just one of those. Okay, so I'm forgetting the story, even though I read this last week. I read this and ready to go for last week. So I might need your young man brain. She takes back to her place.
Yes.
And they start making out, as I'm seeing right here. She turns out to be vampires. Very well-built vampires. And,
while she attempts to, she attempts to drain Jack, but it does not go about her way.
Yep. All of my people love music, though it's really only patterns of vibrations to rhythms for us. I particularly love yours, but all good things must come to an end. He realized he can't move, and she, I guess, has to be naked to turn into the vampire. And,
no, she just did that. Did that to be alluring.
Oh, okay. Kind of like those gentlemen on the construction sites. I know what they're doing. Hey, little Englantine. Anyway, so he gets affected, not necessarily killed or anything, but he gets affected. And this is something I thought was, first of all, I love the sequential art.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling a story. You don't need a whole bunch of words. He finds out that he's not the only person that was going to be a victim. And it's almost instant to the point where as soon as the next night falls, it's not that he's like, oh, I'm going to be a superhero and I'm going to go fight crime. He feels compelled to get out there. He feels compelled to stop evil in the night, and he comes up and he finds this serial killer.
A ritualistic serial killer.
Yes. I like this. Bigger than me, 2 knives, so what? I should be scared, but I'm more than cool. I'm as cold as Northampton. And the guy's like, dessert, woohoo! And the two of them fight, and to basically a standstill with the bad guy getting away. And it's just oh yeah, I love this older character right here because she it takes place in New Orleans. You have a lot of people who are into voodoo, so him being there doesn't exactly throw them off or anything. They're very accepting, and she's like, get out of my yard now, I got a hex sign on you, Mr. Shadowman. And she's like that. He's gone like he's never there. That's that shifty Shadowman, and that's how he gets named. And that is exactly the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it is in, it is out, and it is done. I thought when I was reading, I was like, oh my gosh, this is there's no fat on this one. It's all meat on the bone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So what was your take? I want to get you a saxophone, not a saxophone, by the way. I hear Shadow Man, and the first thing I think is the villain in Princess and the Frog. Well, there you go.
Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, by the way, which is one of the greatest Disney villains of all time, and he's not in the ride. How did they screw that up? If you're gonna have a Princess and the Frog ride, you got to have Facilier. They didn't put him in there. Instead, no, we're gonna look for some spices, y'all. Oh dear Lord! And you guys gave they gave Song of the South the business for the oh well, there goes Brer Rabbit up there. I know he's getting into some trouble. That accent got shit, but the Creole not at all. Anyway, I'll let you take the floor for what you thought about the first issue here.
Well, to answer your question, well, the first issue with Shadow Man has aged like fine wine, but plus, I was like, this is the type of sequential art as well as storytelling that is sorely missed, and needs to come back, like in comics and in graphic novels, like more than ever. Yet, like those that continue to do sequential arts and storytelling for comics and graphic novels, like, as they were years ago, like before this oversaturation of decompressed storytelling, when it ranged from like veterans like Mark Miller to Jeremy Adams.
Yeah.
And Dan Warren Johnson.
You know, he isn't bad. I didn't like his style of art, but it's kind of like Jack Kirby. So I know some people don't like his actual art, his drawings, because it's blocky at times, especially when he became more stylized in the 70s and such. Yeah. But
well, people say the same thing about John Romita Jr.
You can't get away from the fact that it's the page layout that really looks good. I also have to compliment the colorists on these books. I think that's it's really good. It captures lighthearted people in a dark area, if that makes any sense. But that's kind of how I read the Shadow Man here. It's actually just lighthearted people wanting to do good, wanting to do their best in life in a very dark and mystic kind of place. And they really do play up the whole Creole man. Yeah, Zach should be here. Talk about Louisiana a little bit. But they do play up the voodoo aspects of this.
Well, you can tell. You can tell that the creative team, did their research on voodoo, the Lola, and everything else in between. And with the environment and the spirituality of New Orleans are portrayed accurately.
I've only driven through it. I've never stopped. I never went to Mardi Gras or anything. Looks good. Looks good though. Alrighty, so book 2 right here. I love this where he's at the doctor's office. I have your test results, Mr. Boniface. Why did you turn off the lights? And he's just, I don't know. I feel more comfortable in the dark. And that's just speaking on his transformation a little bit more. They never say that he's got vampiric powers, though.
Well, no. Merely Lydia's bite causes a natural affinity for magic as a Shadow Man to become active. And
now in the first 3 issues also, we don't see him use a lot of magic. It's mostly strength, speed, and such like that. Okay, let's see. She gets the result, says he's in perfect shape. He's like, how can that be? I'm a musician. I never work out. I eat all the wrong foods, and I haven't seen a vitamin since my mom force-fed me Flintstone chewables. So how come I'm in such good shape? And that's just speaking, of course, to the bite. And let's see, psychological change. See a shrink. Could it be that this is all in my head? He says, but there's got to. It's not what. Okay, sorry. I'm not imagining what's happening to me, but there's got to be a rational explanation. I don't know. I don't. I'm a weird guy when it comes to this kind of thing because, you know, if something's happening to you, you kind of just gotta accept it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not. It's a weird thing to me. It's like, okay, I don't believe this thing is happening to me. I have to find out why is this thing happening to me. Okay, well, for some reason, I'm liking the dark more than I am the light. You know, I guess you would, but there's just, I don't know.
Well, Jack's reaction is like realistic and not what people think realism is because like he has been dragged into the world of the paranormal and the supernatural. Well, so it's understandable that he would first like trying to find a rational explanation before accepting that like what he went through with Lydia, the mask, and his sudden increase in his physical abilities and such it is of the supernatural origin.
Yeah, I guess it's the what's his name, the Sherlock Holmes thing.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of the rational, then the irrational must be true, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, but then again, also my lack of curiosity is going to end up leading to an actual heart attack and death sometimes. So there you go. Okay, so we actually see him going through where he's like, you know, I think I'll take a walk. It's getting dark out. And once again, he's not wanting to. He's compelled to as soon as it gets dark outside to go out. And I do so love the night. And we see two guys about to mug a dude. And obviously steps in. Gotta take care of it. Except for he puts on his mask this time. All right. So I'm wondering. I know that this is also the issue where he's going after. Oh gosh, I forgot the name of the guy. The bad guy. The guy we saw him in the first issue. It depends who has the mantle of Shadowman. They have 3 people who've used the powers. Yeah, we're definitely talking about the first one. And I'm trying to remember. I read this last week. There's a reason why I read things the day of, because my memory is not as good as it used to be. And so excuse me for a bit if I tend to flub what's going on, because some of it I'm being reminded as we read it. But Dom, if you want to step in and say something, if I'm getting something wrong or something, please, by all means. I am not offended by that prospect.
Well,
what happened?
Well, this issue 2 continues like where one left off. Now, first, yeah, you see Jack like being compelled, not like to say the guy like from the muggers, and afterwards, but like he feels like exhilarated in doing that. And once he's exhausted, like Nettie, like a friend of his, pretty much explains to him like what's happening to him, and that she is familiar with the supernatural, especially the Shadow Man.
I can't come in Monday because okay. Let's see. You scared the daylights out of me. Well, something did, Mr. Boniface. You done slept through most of the daylight. Okay, well, now that actually shouldn't affect his life, though, too much if he's a jazz musician in a nightclub. Murders continue. And so, yeah, basically, she picks up exactly who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially if he's leaving the mask around, I guess. You're the Shadow Man, Mr. Boniface. Maybe there's some folks that don't know about you and this here mask. But my people know, they understand the LOA done the Loa, or is it, yeah.
Yeah, you got it right first time.
They in your soul, you can pass me off as an old fool, but you can't deny them spirits inside you. And at night he goes out again and he's looking for the serial killer, and he goes into the room where he found all the bodies in the first issue, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And what is weird is somebody's looking after him. Somebody's actually watching him, and they send somebody in there. So that would tell me that law enforcement actually found the bodies, and now they're waiting for who may have put him there, and he gets targeted as that character. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah, and this is him. And we find him making a call and meeting up with the with the police officer Casey.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to have a police officer to share information with, and to take to strip joints where you get free bras. By the way, this actually happened to me once, and the stripper did come back and ask for the bra back. I just let you know.
Oh,
I thought that was relevant to the story and such.
Right. Right. What's also very refreshing upon rereading really the original Shadowman, and with issue 2, so it does not hold back or shy away from the violence and the graphic kills that have occurred from the serial killer.
Yeah. By the way, if you're gonna do this, only do this with a woman's legs. This scene right here, you see it a lot in James Bond. But yeah, he goes out. 2 weeks ago, I met Lydia and my life changed. 2 weeks ago, I tangled with this crazy murderous idiot, and it felt good. It felt great. I knew my life had changed forever, and now here I am in the bayou, up to my shins in reeking swamp water, on the word of an old woman who believes in spirits and demons and voodoo rituals, awaiting for an axe-wielding homicidal maniac to show up and attempt to carve me into pieces small enough to fit into his pocket. And he shows up, and they do that. Yeah, the hairy leg thing, not attractive. Not attractive here. This is an excellent series, says one slick dude. I have the complete run. So far, so good, man. Seriously, yeah. I got a better blade for you now, Shadow Man. This time won't be so easy for you. This time I'm ready, and the two of them fight. And I got to tell you, yeah, he's right. It's an excellent series, and it's a lot of fun.
Something of which most of today's creators, and I use that term loosely, to actually take notes from the veterans.
Something there right now, there's a weird thing going on when it comes to movies. I'm going to fast forward through this part. Let me to get to where I am. Okay, so he beats the guy. He gets he talks to the cop. Everything is great. By the way, writers Faye Perozic and Jim Shooter, penciler David Latham. All right.
Tom writer, colorist Jorge Gonzalez, and letterer Jade, and editor D. David Perlin.
Now, there's something going on when it comes to movies, and you can see it all over Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Superman only made this much money, and Fantastic Four is a bomb, and this is not making money. And who cares? Who cares? It depends on, did you like it? Like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I don't go through Netflix going, what movie made a lot of money, because that's the one that's going to be good. Waterboy, starring Adam Sandler, fun film, I like it, made more money than LA Confidential. You going to tell me Waterboy's a better movie? So anyway, I'm wondering, let's get to steer it back to comics. You see Valiant in dollar books across. I mean, for the longest time, Valiant Comics, not the first 4 issues of anything, but Valiant Comics across the board are in dollar bins, 50-cent bins, and so forth. For the longest time, they were. Now all I see are like comic books from like 2 years ago in dollar bins. I don't see Valiant as much, but I wonder if the being in the dollar bin so much has given people an idea, like put it in the mind that these books aren't written well. Mm-hmm. That they're not good books. And reading the first 2 issues of this. Holy crap, this is good stuff. You know, we read Mantra, we read Rune, both of them good stuff. Although I don't find Ultraverse in the dollar bins at all, to tell you the truth. That's just
I know, right?
Regional, yeah. I don't find Ultraverse at all anymore.
Well, it's still a blessing in disguise that Marvel is not doing anything with Malibu Comics besides the Ultraverse, because really I can see it be revived, and actually give people what they want. However, for it to really be fully resurrected it needs to be it needs to be bought from Marvel, and given back to the founders.
It would be nice. It really would. Aaron Sparrow put a tweet the other day that said, "I would rather have Ultraverse than anything being produced today." And now, if you're talking about back issues, okay, sure, fine, I get it. But I said, my tweet back to him was, "You don't think they would put the same creative teams on these things? They're not. Yeah, they're not going to go out and they're not going to hire actual good writers and artists to do this. They're going to put all the shitty writers and artists that they've got all over Marvel right now, and it'll be like, okay, we need an actual voodoo priestess to write Shadow Woman." Yeah, it's that's the way they would do with modern time. You know, if you're going to get Ultraverse, they would find a way to f it up. I have no faith. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. What they're, I mean, look at there you go. You can actually use the actual Valiant as a measure on this.
Mm-hmm.
Before the whole woke push, or back in the day, we were calling it SJW stuff.
But when Valiant was brought back by Dinesh in 2012, you can tell that he is a genuine fan of the original Valiant Comics and the universe, and he vetted each creator and made sure that they were the best people for the job, and actually placed onto characters that he felt actually matches with each of them, and they're, no pun intended, their individual characters.
Yeah, Robert Venditti. I was actually commissioned to do the Robert Venditti Exo Man of War, and thank God. I mean, that was awesome. Thank you for whomever commissioned that. It was from the long box, like we're doing right now. Just I went through the first 5 issues of Robert Venditti's Exo Man of War. That was incredible. That would just blew me the fuck away. Excuse my language. I went to this. You remember when we were getting subscription boxes of everything? There was a subscription box called Bento, Comic Book Bento, and it was just random trade paperbacks sent to you. You know, you spent your $30 a month, you get 5 or 6 trade paperbacks a month. And one of them was just Valiant stuff. It was Bloodshot, Harbinger, stuff like Harbinger War, I think was one of them. Yeah,
Archer and Armstrong.
All of them were, and they were all from the 2011, 2012 era. They were great stuff. But let's fast forward to Wokesville, SJW town, where, what was her name? Heather?
Yeah, Heather Ansels. Like, she was brought in. And a company from China, like invested as a Valiant, and pretty much a repeat of what happened when Shooter like came in. Dinesh just got removed from Valiant in a different but similar manner to what happened to Shooter.
And everything hit the wall. It was all of a sudden. I mean, there's a mini-series that nobody will ever read because of what came after that mini-series. And I will tell you what, it's good. It's called Faith. I think it was Faith, Hollywood and Vine. Good mini-series. But then the SJW thing came in, and all of a sudden they're writing her as body positivity rather than just a superhero. My thing about Faith, she was fat in the original story, by the way. But they started pushing.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'll say like yeah, she was yeah Faith and Faith like she but originally she was she like her code name was Zephyr
Hmm.
and yeah she yeah, she one of the founding members of the resistance. So yeah, she was overweight, but she wasn't fat. That like as like she was made like in the new Harbinger series, but over time like in the original series, because she actually started to slim down, and when we see her again like in the future, she pretty much like shredded all the weight and is fit.
Yeah, with Ryan the Future Force.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So, but you would think. You think like a similar scenario would happen like after Dinesh like helped revive like Harbinger. That yeah, instead of overweight or like she is portrayed as fat, but over time, but and with the activation like of her powers, she actually starts to lose the weight because it just makes sense. So it's like when you're a superhuman.
yeah. Um, but the thing is, they started putting in all the social justice warrior stuff, and now we're calling it woke. Um, and the stories just hit a wall. They stopped being about characters and they started being about caricatures, and that's when
Hmm.
it took the fall. I
Yeah, like
I
even if
oh,
you
go
see
ahead.
people like doing fan art or like fake of like Faith or any other members of the Harbinger resistance, but especially
Mhm.
with Faith, they're like if anyone like dares just like to illustrate her like slimmed down, they're like there'll be some people who accuse you of being fat quote unquote fat phobic or
Of
whatever.
course, yeah, yeah. Okay, but I'll tell you this: she has a power where she doesn't have to stay fit. I actually always wondered about this when it comes to certain superpowers. Like, why would Jean Grey be fit? Her whole power is her mind picks up things and moves herself around.
She's a
There's
telekinetic and a telepath.
yeah, I mean that doesn't mean she has to be fat, but it could actually mean she's way too skinny, or she's just I mean she went out of shape in the other direction. Some powers can allow people not to be fit, but of course we see superheroes and we see villains and such, and they superheroes have to be the ideal human being and such like that. Okay, let's
Plus like with the X, plus like with the X Men and the Avengers or any other team, seeing like they actually have like a room and whatnot, where they do their training,
yep.
which keeps them fit.
Yep. Let's see what we got here. This is an excellent series. I have a complete run. Said one slick dude, Shadow Man would make a good TV series. I think so too. And actually, it's a great time. Well, I don't know. I was about to say it's a great time for it because they look for basically non-white characters to do that. But unfortunately, they don't write fully fledged non-white characters. I mean, it seems like modern day, it's just, oh, so you are this minority. That's your entire identity. That's all you're about. Um,
It's Dwayne, I'm telling you, it's Dwayne McDuffie like did not if he was still alive and did not die like from like complications of his surgery, he would give these people an earful. I mean, Christopher Priest, like he has done that.
yeah,
Like before, like in an old interview, but McDuffie, I mean, like he would do that, but 10 times more.
there. I saw something. I forgot what it was, but I saw. I don't know. It was an interview. Oh no, actually, it was. It was on Netflix. It was Kevin Hart did a whole show. It was like everybody thinks the only history of Black people is the struggle, But here we go. There's more stories to tell. Yeah, look at what was it last year? The year before, there was a movie called The Society of Magical Negroes or something like
Yes,
that. And instead of being Black Harry Potter, which it seemed like everybody, not just Black people, but everybody was excited because, okay, let's see what Black Harry Potter is all about. And it was another movie about the struggle. What a freaking waste. It's like you only get one. But here in Shadow Man, this one right here, yeah, I dig this. Okay. Let's see. What's up, Spiders? They won't bring back Ultraverse because of Gerard Jones, says Bad Comics, Comic Reviews. Gerard Jones, that name is familiar. What did he get in some sort of like Me Too situation or something like that? Or
Yeah, Gerard Jones, he got in trouble by the authority when it's discovered that he was in possession of illicit material.
Okay, yes, I remember that now. Let's see. Austin says I may have a faulty memory, but wasn't the term social justice warrior and woke both taken from them and slapped back at them at the same time in the late 2010s? Well, this is about 2013 that I remember seeing what we would end up calling the social justice warrior stuff start seeping in. Basically, my thing is you can read Marvel up until it says all new, and then you've got to read Marvel very selectively. It isn't until about 2016 2018 where it seems like Marvel just decided, you know what? Yeah, 2016 with Trump, where everything just went, and now you're dealing with an entire company of crap. But between 2013 and 2016, read Marvel very carefully. But before that, it's Marvel. It was good for the most part.
A bad comic review said, "By the power of diabetes, I have the rules." And Austin Proctor said, "I got 4 words for you, E, on that Jean Grey point: genetics and the gym."
Yeah, there you go.
And well, he's not far off. Although there are people out there who are just born with very good genes. And they could choose to not go to the gym, but they choose to do so anyway. Because even if they have good genes or a fast metabolism, because of their body type, they still don't want to be in good shape.
I hear you with your good genes talk. All I hear is you're a Sydney Sweeney loving Nazi. All right.
Let's see. And
go ahead.
A bad comic review says, first, Tony Hayes said, "My ears started ringing a few minutes ago. Was someone talking about woke stuff?" And then Quinn. Oh, do you want to answer that before I read under Quinn's comments?
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah, that was kind of a joke because we were a little bit. We just kind of got into that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, the new books were way overpriced, and he's not wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
Austin Proctor said, "Dang, I looked it up. The term woke came from BLM in the 2000s. Yeah. Would have thunk it."
So Bagger Vance is the one that gets a lot of the pushback, and it's a decent movie. It's not a great movie. It's a decent one. Scatman Crothers was literally a magical Negro because he brought a can that turned old people young when they kicked it. So, yeah.
Now, Bad Comic Review said, Gerard Jones was a major writer on Ultraverse, which is true. He also posted CP on YouTube. He's still in jail.
Yeah, that's...
Which is a major factor, not the major factor of why you don't see Malibu Comics and the Ultraverse haven't been brought back.
Okay.
But Gerard Jones, he's not the face of Malibu Comics.
Yeah. Also, it's about the characters and such.
Yeah.
Also, and this is something. Da na 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 na. Hey, da 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 na na. That still gets used. That guy got arrested for exactly the same thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that still gets used all over the place.
And Dark Admiral said, "All new was a warning, just like Bendis is coming." Yep.
The
guy still refuses to take responsibility or acknowledge that the choices that he made as a writer led long-term damage to characters as well as the universes they inhabit.
Oh, I think this is kind of funny. He was talking about Scatman Crothers in The Shining. I went straight to the Twilight Zone movie. So, because in The Shining he had the mental powers.
That's The Shining, but that doesn't really make him a magical Negro.
In Twilight Zone, I'm not kidding. He literally had a can that would turn old people young. That's magic, man. That is definitely magic. Oh my goodness gracious!
Well, with all that being said, we should cover issue 3 of Shadowman.
Speaking of Gerard Jones, guess what the villain in issue number 3 does? Okay, so yeah, great cover by the way. I have to commend them on the covers.
Right?
Him coming out of the
That's also what I
shadows.
missed.
Yeah.
That's what I missed with comic books of yesteryear and graphic novels. What is shown on the cover actually happens in the book.
In the book, yeah, we've had that conversation a couple of times. The beasts and the children. Alrighty, so I'm gonna skip through some of this because the bar fight and all, because I want to get to the bad guy. The bad guy
Yeah,
okay. Let's see.
No,
okay, so I guess this is the introduction because the bad guy, because these guys are henchmen of his, and they're roughing up a guy, and Shadowman's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna whip your ass. And he knocks out the lights and then proceeds to do that and scares the guys out. And let's see. Let's get to the bad guy. Here we go. Hello, Sosa. And we find I'm sorry to disturb you, but I have your payment. And he's carrying in a little girl. He said, it's all here as usual. He's got money. And of course, the bad guy, being the bad guy, decides, okay, well, I got to kill the dude that was working for me. And he does. And then he takes the girl and puts her in a room because he's going to save her for dessert. And that's the whole thing. He's kind of like an energy vampire. And he sucks out the life of people. But after he does that, he's tired. So, he's going to wait for this young lady later when it's dark. And you can do these devious things. And he sees, of course, Shadowman. The people around them are getting tired of the whole bit. But literally, you guys see where this is going. I'm going to stop scrolling through in just a little bit. We could talk about this. But it is literally this guy. It could be any kind of child predator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, I'm going to suck the life out of you. It's just a holdover for it, So Shadowman actually ends up saving the little girl, but doesn't want to leave Sosa alive because, he could save this one girl, but if he's alive to do it again, he's just going to go find another victim.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their showdown. They have their big fight, and boom, by the way, you mentioned it happens in the book. There it is. That's the cover. It's literally a panel out of the book. Gosh darn. That is kind of awesome. That is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But
what was mentioning, like when Jack infiltrated his house to save the girl, the two got help from one of the maids.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've been watching this happen under threats and such. That's a brief summary of book 3, but I got to tell you, it was my favorite issue so far. I started reading issue number 4, realized it was part of Unity, and thought if I'm going to read Unity, I've got to find it.
But it will make sense. So it's just not the issue 3, and if we were to cover Unity, then we need to read it in its respective chapters.
Yeah, it would have to be the entire thing. By the way, I do not recommend the Unity trade paperbacks. I remember this from when I got them back in the day. They, I don't know, maybe they're still good, but the problem is they kept the when you're reading through the trade paperbacks, they kept the catch-ups. Like the first 2 pages would be telling you what happened in the previous chapters. So when you're reading the trade paperback, every story gets interrupted because you're reading what happened in the issue you just read. So either that or just skip those first 2 pages of every new chapter. Let's see. I'm getting V for Vendetta Deja Vu vibes here for. Oh, hold on. Let me scroll up. Let's see. Scatman, the original Jazz, R.I.P. Sir. Yep.
Mm-hmm. May rest in peace.
Scatman was magical. I'll tell you what, I loved watching him and stuff. He was everywhere in the late 70s, early 80s. Him and a guy named Chief Dan George.
I remember.
He is awesome. He is an Indian He was in one of my favorite movies of all time. Not just one of my favorite westerns, but two of my favorite movies of all time. One was called Little Big Man, and the other one, The Outlaw Josie Wales, starring Clint Eastwood. Little Big Man starred Dustin Hoffman. But yeah, check him out. Him and Scatman Crothers were everywhere. Going ahead.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Oh I'm just like back you up on your recommendations because like those names is like I haven't like heard in a long time. Well, they do bring back good memories.
If you can't cast Magic Missile at 10th level, Magic Missile! Psh, psh. You know what? That guy's lived on in infamy. You know, there you go. Cancel for the N-bomb. Oh, yeah. Excuse me while I whip this out. Blazing Saddles. Was this on Epstein Island? Oh, he had his own, the guy had his own house and everything for all of this. Let's see, I'm getting V for Vendetta deja vu vibes. Oh, yeah, with the priest doing the same thing. He had his minions bring in the girl of the week. And the younger, the better, or at least the younger they could make her look. That was weird mod you could get for ball. Wait, what?
Hello. As we are, today's episode, we are covering a Valiant title. Well, Harbinger, the original series, it is being collected as an omnibus, but not by Valiant, but by another publisher called Alien Books.
I guess they bought the rights. I mean, hey, if you could do it, right? I mean, that's
yes, but just as a quick correction, it's a collaboration between Alien Books and Valiant Comics.
Okay.
So, if Harbinger can be reprinted and collected as an omnibus, then the other titles like deserve like that treatment as well. Because Shooter, like may he rest in peace, like he contributed so much for the comic book industry and inspired countless creators who went on to either being writers themselves or artists and editors. Because with him, he was all three.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess it's a case of if the Harbinger sells, then maybe we can get more Valiant. Because that is going to be the litmus. It's going to be the litmus of whether or not people want Harbinger. They want Valiant omnibuses. Does this one do well? Okay, let's put out Exo Man of War. And I'll guarantee you, after Harbinger, it's going to be Exo Man of War. Because those were the two biggies back in the day.
I mean, heck, like Schism, which was another one by Shooter, but through his Defiant Comics like publishing company, and that was supposed to be like another crossover, culminating everything from the titles under it, much like with Valiant, which led to Unity. That was brought back after 30 years. And it was able to get done before his death.
Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing this. I wouldn't mind seeing some Valiant omnibuses. And I know that they're going to do Exo Man of War. If Harbinger is successful, they're going to do Exo Man of War. Harbinger was like their X-Men in the day. I know that means something more in the 90s than it does today, but yeah, Harbinger was their X-Men. Exo Man of War was next. After that, I don't know where they would go, but in all honesty,
Shadowman, Archer and Armstrong, Eternal Warrior.
Well, Eternal Warrior, maybe that was as big. Shadowman, I think they would probably do Shadowman third. Yeah, I could see that. My favorite was Archer and Armstrong. I loved Archer and Armstrong.
Mine too.
That was a good blend of action and humor and such. So there's a lot to be found. There's a lot to be found in the old Valiant. There was a reason why it was popular back in the day.
Yeah.
To the point where some of the I think like Rye number 3 or 2 or 3 ended up in the back issue bin going like 50, maybe even higher than that. I remember there were just Solar Man of the Atom. There you go. That was the third big.
Yeah. Because I mean, Dr. Solar, Magnus, and Turok. So like, they were actually able to continue like where they left off from Gold Key.
Turok may be now a lot of people say Death of Superman, but I think it was Turok that killed the 1990s speculation craze. When in the 90s, when Marvel got bought up, it became something to have so many books on the shelf that you wash everybody out. And it almost became a race on how many issues could be put out and such. And you ended up getting a lot of baseball card collectors because the card collecting market crashed for a bit. And they all jumped onto comics, and they were treating comics the same way they were doing baseball cards. And that's when you started getting stuff like all the gimmick covers and everything. A lot of people say it's Death to Superman because people would order Death to Superman by the boxes.
That's all right.
But the thing is, those sold out. People wanted them. This was the big thing. Then came the next big thing, which was Turok #1 with that glossy cover. And it got sold to the comic shops. But general audiences were like, the fuck is Turok? It did not sell as well. I'm not saying it didn't sell, just saying it didn't sell as well. So it's like, you ordered 1 million copies of it and 15, 20,000 sold, which nowadays, of course, would be a big ass hit. But so the market collapsed on itself. People weren't, it just didn't sell. So, yeah. Speculators and publisher greed crashed it out. Yep. Valiant Classics did come for a few years back. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. But Valiant discontinued it.
Let's see.
MARANYA in particular. Oh, I finish your. Although
it's going to be Dark Admiral Bloodshot, but they fumbled the bag on that one. Did you see the movie?
I did. I did. I wanted to, but when I rewatched the trailer, it looked unappealing, and that's crazy because with Bloodshot, it should not be, because essentially with him, Angelo Mortale, he is the Valiant Universe's Wolverine. Only the difference is he's not an immortal. Well, but he was subjected into an experiment against his will, but that experiment also activated his abilities as a harbinger.
I say this about some movies, and if you listen, because there's some movies you ask me, how do you like it? Oh, it's good. It was good. I recommend you should see it. And then there's some where I go, it was entertaining. And when I say that, it can mean anything from, it was a lot of fun, I had a good time with blah, 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 to it improved on me looking at a blank screen for the duration of the time. I could have stayed there looking at a blank screen for an hour and 36 minutes. Or I could have watched this movie, and watching this movie was better. And by the way, I have seen movies where I thought this did not improve on me just sitting in a quiet room looking at a blank screen. I have seen films like that where it's like, it's not just bad, it's just one of those that kind of flatline. Like, I can take a bad movie because it's bad and you can find something enjoyable in how bad it is. But when you're watching a film and it is just, The English Patient got an Oscar. I don't understand why. It was literally rice cakes. It's and that's kind of the way I thought about Bloodshot. It was entertaining. I couldn't tell you a freaking thing about it right now. I know I watched it. Yeah. But it's at least an entertaining enough action film that while you're watching it, you will be distracted. That kind of thing. A high praise indeed from England team on Bloodshot. You know what? That's a tier list I would really like to go through. That's a long tier list. Let's start at the very beginning and let's talk about these superhero movies. Maybe we'll have to break it up into a couple of nights, but that would be an awesome time to. I really do think so. Let's give some honest opinions away from the whole black pilled SJW. I want an honest opinion,
Yeah.
What did you think of the Batman serials from 1940, or the very first superhero movie, which was the serials to Captain Marvel? Not a lot of people know that, but that is true.
Hmm.
Captain Marvel was the
Well,
very first on the big
well,
screen.
also people should know more about the Platinum Age of comics, or even the Atomic Age, because
Yeah,
like those two really don't get touched on, but
yeah.
because really people like most of the time they focus on the golden age, the silver age, the bronze age, the copper age, the original Iron Age, also known as the Chrome Age, and and afterwards and this actually came from a video I watched on YouTube, which talked about the different ages of comics. And what came after the Iron Age, aka like the Chrome Age, or as like Al, or as the YouTuber called it, the Extreme Age.
I talked with somebody about this for a video like that. Somebody had me on their channel to talk about how would I separate the ages and everything.
Yeah, yeah, but
Um,
before you do realize this that the age that came after like the original Iron Age is the Cinema Age, which is actually is rather appropriate because you starting to see comic books and graphic novels start being written and drawn as if they're films instead of as comics. Another age, another name for that age besides the cinema age is the plastic age.
what's that?
Essentially, like people are using their cards instead of cash, but also actually applies to like how movies are being like written as, like the approaches to television and cinema were being incorporated into comics, but also these feel plastic instead
Yeah.
of authentic.
Now, I would actually say that more about the comics than I would the movies, to tell you the truth. Bad comics then. Chromium, lenticular, die-cut, hologram, embossed covers, too many overpriced gimmicks. Yeah, you know what? They're fun collectibles now, though. The trifecta is Death of Superman, Turok, Chromium, and Spawn #1. I would disagree with you on Spawn #1, but Image Comics on the whole probably served to bring down the comics, the comic industry, because they had people paying for books they weren't getting. They would make the orders, they would make the payments, and then the books would be months and months late. You remember there was a time where Image Comics outsold DC in orders, but the books were never delivered. So the people who made those orders, they ordered that many books, they never got. And this is back when they were doing 50, 100,000 and so forth.
Right.
But I do agree That's the Superman Turok. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And actually, I will say like briefly about the cinema age, and also known as like the plastic age. It's also like characterized besides like the implementation of techniques usually seen in movies and TV shows and into comics, but also it's a turn to more optimistic optimistic stories after the darker things were explored, like in the original Iron Age of comics. How would you say that's accurate to that assessment?
I'm not quite sure what years you're talking about when you say Iron Age and all that.
All right, so with the Iron Age is preferring to the 90s, but the Copper Age.
Well, I know
So,
copper, but
yeah,
I
the Copper
didn't
Age
know.
it went from 1985 to 1992.
Okay,
Too.
wow.
So 1990, so when 1992 to all the way to the mid to late 90s, that would be the original Iron Age.
That was one of the things we were talking about. Like, how would you separate the ages? And my thinking was every 17 years. That was Golden Age to Silver Age. Like 1938 until 1954, 56, 54. The first appearance of the Flash, Barry Allen. And then if you bring that up, it actually 56, 17 years, you're working around 1973 there. 73. Then okay, you've got 1990 for the Copper Age, and then from 90 to, and it kind of works out with certain milestones. I don't think there's a milestone you can point to in 1990. I know a lot of people point to Crisis on Infinite Earths being the start of the the start of the Copper Age. Where you would end it, they're giving the Copper Age only 7 years. I guess it did switch up because we did get a little bit more with the there were more variants, there were more gimmicks and such like that with in the 90s. 2000s was a very confusing time. The books weren't bad. It's just, it was like, what do we want to be? It's almost like the comic book industry was questioning itself. What do we want to be? Do we want to be more positive? Do we want to be darker? Do we want to have continuity? Also, do you want to have regular stories or are we just writing for the trade paperback? Should we have regular continuity? That, I think, started really starting to question what the comic industry wanted to be. And because with stuff like Grant Morrison's I think it really did begin with Grant Morrison's JLA, where they started segmenting, and it seemed like the stories were set for a certain amount of books so they could fill a trade paperback. The worst of those was Brian Michael Bendis, who did that with Daredevil, and then they brought that right into the Marvel Ultimate, the Ultimate Universe, Ultimate, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Where every story, no matter what the title was told in 6-issue increments. That you can read, well, not every, because I know there were a couple of X-Men that were only 3 or 4. But you could read them and you knew there was a certain pattern to them. Or frickin' hell, Bruce Jones's Hulk, where you would get 4 issues of Bruce Banner whining and going into a new town, and 1 issue of the Hulk hulking out. Worked great for the trade. So it almost seems like that would be that's the trade paperback era right there, because everything seemed to be written for the trades and certain issues.
Yeah, which would actually reflects like the plastic age, aka the semi age, but also like in that period in the 2000s, there's an increase of popularity of comic book movies and TV adaptations.
And then you've got the New 52 and All In, and I got to tell you, a great name for that age, the Identity Age. The last 15 years, I guess 12 years at this point, the Identity Age. Let's see. I've seen the first 2 episodes of the Batman serial, says Austin. I need to see the full one. I watched the whole Flash Gordon serial a few years ago. Those serials are a lot of fun. My favorite of the superheroes is the Captain Marvel. Green Hornet's good as well. Captain America is fun. And also one that isn't based on a comic book is called Rocket Man. I would recommend that. I also used to, when I had a newspaper route out in Tallahassee, I used to buy all the radio serials. If you could get your hands on those, I do recommend them. They are a lot of fun. And my wife hates it if I put them on in the car. I've got most of, if not all of the graphic audio, a movie in your mind, where it's like Marvel Secret Wars and Civil War and all that kind of stuff. And I like to listen to those in the car. We're in the pot metal age, says Dark Admiral.
That's funny.
We're in the microplastic age. In a debate, what era had the darkest themes in the books? The darkest themes?
Yeah.
That, my goodness. Themes, not just like this is the most violent, but like the darkest. I would have to say that was.
Yeah. So but he's asking which era.
The trade paperback era, because that was all about destruction of the universes and such. I'm going by DC mostly on that one. But in that, yeah, it seemed like destruction was what they wanted. Now you could say deconstruction
So,
era for a lot of the later 2010s also.
which and they would still be part of the plastic age because at first like we started to see this return to form of telling like uplifting, optimistic stories. But then in around the mid to late 2000s, we actually witnessed a real time a regression of that.
Okay. One Slick is saying that he put the Spawn #1 because first appearance are usually the most valuable, but Image overprinted the book so bad it's not the most valuable in the series. That is true. Although people are still willing to shell out $20 for it.
Hmm.
I wonder if the new tools of Photoshop and other digital drawing tools affected the writing somehow. I don't know what, but it just has a different feeling from the analog era. It always was until then, says Austin. I mean, I'm not artist enough to be able to tell. And by the way, I suck with AI. I've tried to make pictures with AI, typing in what I want and everything. I don't know how people do these beautiful photos of anything. I get weird, almost nightmarish things when I try to do the visual AI. Radar Men for the Moon is a classic, says Bad Comic Review. Hulk smash Bendis. Must resist gay joke, must not be banned by E. Wait, what? What are we doing? The 90s.
Well, yeah, the 90s got dark. Yes, it's like it did get dark during the original Iron Age, but even like back then, like there were still stories that had an uplifting and hopeful atmosphere and theme. Now, look at Kingdom Come, done by Al Twas, 1963 by Alan Moore. His run on Supreme, and even Kurt Busiek's Astro City, so all of which they acted as a counter, kind of like towards what was going on during that period.
Now, one thing I liked about Astro City was the story matched the character.
Very much.
So, yeah, like the first one, I forget the name of the character, the Superman character, basically. That was more
The Samaritan.
The Samaritan was more positive. But when you got to the Batman character, he
Confessor.
Had the cross and everything. It was a darker story. They matched it for what they needed to have. I thought that was awesome. That was good
the
writing.
Confessor.
Kurt Busiek.
Oh yeah, very much.
Kurt Busiek is one of the writers that blocked me on Milkshake Day.
Really?
Yeah. I got blocked by a bunch of people on that day because I kept asking one question, which is because they kept saying we need more female writers, we need more female artists, so why don't we just
excuse I remember I remember being there in real time where it actually was excuse me, but you had these talents who happened to be members of the opposite sex for years. Yes,
Well,
why are you saying like you need more of them?
Now, I said, you keep saying female. Why don't we just need better?
Yeah, better writers.
You just say we need better writers. We need better artists regardless.
And better editors.
And then they kept getting mad because, well, all right, you don't want women, blah, blah, blah. So hold on
No.
here. Let me finish.
That's not what we're saying at all.
Let me finish what I was saying. And so Kurt Busiek got on to me because I was saying better. And he goes, well, we need more female and you hate women, blah, blah, blah. I said, wait a second. I said better. You removed female from that. You assumed when I said better, I wasn't including women. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. We just need better writers. We need better artists. If you guys really want to know where I stand as far as women in comics, Jeanette Kahn is possibly the biggest hero of DC Comics.
Oh, very much.
I mean, we've had some awesome, obviously the people who created it, you got to give them credit because they created it. You know, the Bob Kane and the Bill Finger, Siegel and Schuster, obviously. But DC Comics was dying. Jeanette Kahn saved it. and I count her as is one of the big heads on the Mount Rushmore. You know what? There's too few people in Mount Rushmore. Fuck that. Let's go to Easter Island. Okay, we'll do the Easter because there's like 8 or 10 of them. But you know, the point being is they took female out of better, and he got mad because I pointed that out, and that was the last thing I heard from Kurt Busiek.
Wow, man,
that was it. After I pointed out that he was the one that removed female when I said better. Man, I don't give a what they like. I never read an Ann Nacente book or a Louise Simonson book.
Simonson or Joe Duffy. Well, she's not only
Well, Joe Duffy's a guy you can have a beer with. Yes. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how they think over there.
Yeah, and also like what some people have forgotten, one of Metamorpho's creators is a woman. Yeah, but I'm actually like shocked by what Bad Comic Review said, that Kurt actually blocked his own son.
Wow, that's something. Yeah. I guess he can't handle it. I do not know what's going on with my. I didn't even know my freaking camera could autofocus. Come on, get that thing.
Yeah. And Dark Animal says
this by the way. This is Pumbaa's Odorous Gas. So what at Disney, they've got a game. It's something to disperse crowds, but they have a card game. You can go in. And they make these cards. Some of these are actually worth money now. You get these cards from the firehouse, and you go around. There's these screens, and you're going against Facilier or something. Mad Mim from Sword in the Stone, and if they do a spell, you can counter their spell by pulling up a card. And it's fun, you know, whatever animation is there for them. Of course, you know, Pumbaa's farting, you know, that's this one. But yeah, that's what I've been showing off right here. It was a fun little distraction, especially like me, if you've been through Disney and you've done all the rides a lot. It's like, hey, something new. Let's do that. All right. Let's see. The later Spawn books are the more valuable from 100 to 200. Those are the tens and aboves. Let's see. Austin saying, hey, what do you think of Spider-Man hooky graphic novel from the 80s? I have it right now and about to read it after the stream ends. Nice. Now, it's been a long time, so all I could do is tell you how I felt reading it. And I really do. But then again, I'm a big graphic novel fan. Back in the day, I used to get them all. I loved Hooky. That's the Bernie Wrightson one with the monster. And yeah, good stuff. What were you about to say, Dom?
No, I was just going to say, I was just going to highlight what Dark Animal said about Busiek. I was saying he's a thin-skinned person, which is disappointing to hear, and the fact that he actually blocked his own son. Well, that's crazy.
It is ridiculous to do that. Austin is saying Ann Nacente was great in her day most of the time. Yeah, nobody ever bats 1,000. Even Alan Moore wrote that. What is that? The porn one, Lost Girls. Which, by the way, if you read it, it is trash. It's bad. It's not just, oh my gosh, there's Cinderella having sex with Snow White or anything like that. It's actively a poorly written book. You know, it just wasn't great. So like, yeah, everybody's got their ups and downs.
Innocente is not, and Innocente is no exception. Well, she has her ups and her downs.
Let's see. I wanted to say something else, but I'm sure you all know. So I stuck with person. Wait, what? Oh, skin. Okay, I got it. Yeah. There were a lot of people on Milkshake Day. There were a lot of people. What was his name? Created the Punisher. Conway.
Jerry Conway?
Yeah. He also, he was one of the ones that was just back and forthing with me about all of it. And it was like first, what I did wrong was I asked for evidence because Heather Antos came out and said these guys were saying this. And so, well, what did they say?
Yeah, what's so wrong to say that hey, I want to see the evidence.
Yeah. Later I found it, you know, but during it, if you asked for what did they say, you were considered a sexist bigot because you were questioning a woman who was accusing 3 guys. I said, well, wait a second, you know, I could do that too. This person over here said this, but I'm not going to show you what they said. You know, you don't know until you see the evidence. When I saw the evidence, when I saw what was happening, I was like, wait a second, these guys didn't even talk to you. These guys grabbed your quote, your tweet, they pulled it over to their house, and they were classless by all means. I said, there's nothing worth this, what has gone on for 50. And literally, I don't know why I stuck on it myself, but it was like 10 hours worth of click, 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 click. Oh, I'm going to go have lunch. Yeah, I came back, click, 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 click. That's all I did that day. It was weird. It was just locked into this freaking Twitter fight, this culture war that became milkshake wars, which was basically a day of left and right just bashing into each other. It was really weird. You know who left evidence? Hitler. That is funny as fuck. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, that was funny. You know, it seems everyone starting in the 80s were talking about the crappy newspaper quality. This hooky graphic novel has more glossy paper and watercolor look for the colors, but I miss it. Yeah. I miss the newspaper
people,
print.
Oh, yeah. And back to this day, people are still calling for a return to newspaper print. Because, well, it's more durable and it can actually survive more so than magazine paper.
Yeah, I miss the newsprint, the glossy stuff, the Baxter paper. Yeah, it just, I don't know. I like that. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind them being in color, but I've got the Marvel Essentials. I've got the Showcase on my shelf. And they're phone book paper. You know, it's fine. Hey, look, the words work, the pictures work. So yeah, I'm good with that. Our Turn is King Cryptid is pretty good, and it's on newsprint, says Bad Comics. I think that was one of the things they said kept the price down, is the fact that they kept it on newsprint. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't know. We are way off from Shadowman. I want to see what combinations of percentage 4 colors they use to create the color, says Austin. I'm sure we can find something that says that. It's sad, but I'd rather talk to the indie guys these days at cons. Oh, my favorite is...
I don't blame...
Yeah.
Hey, I don't blame them.
My favorite is the Artist Alley, where you're seeing...
Me too.
Yeah. You get... One thing I love, and I don't know, maybe it's a power move or something like that, but I love the desperation you get from people who have created their own comic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just desperation. That's kind of being rude, but there's a hunger.
Yeah,
there's a hunger for an audience, and they're willing to talk to you, and they're willing to sell you. I bought quite a few books from. I sold a few at an auction one time after a MegaCon, but I read them. They were good. Now here you go. Let's see if it helps out at all, you know. But yeah, I love going to Artist Alley, seeing what people have to.
Yeah, nowadays, really, I honestly hang out in artist alley and other parts of the hall, more so than going to the panels because most of them are hit or miss.
Well, Dark Admiral saying I have quite a few bad experiences with the big league guys. One of my, just to say it, I went up and I had a conversation with Jim Shooter, and it was a conversation. I didn't ask a stupid question like when I talked to Mike Barron, but he was willing to talk and just have a conversation. It wasn't like Neil Adams. Neil Adams was like, yeah, so blah blah blah. You gonna buy a print? You can buy a print right over there. I'll sign it. And you buy a print and I'll sign it. It's extra $20. Neil Adams was a salesman. He would not talk to the fans. Buy the print, sign the print, get the fuck out. I did not enjoy my meeting with Neil Adams. and it made me not want to buy the. I talked to Mike Grell. I walked up. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan." And he was very grateful. He came in late, and I saw Mike Grell was going to be in. I heard he was going to be in a few minutes. I said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to talk to Mike Grell. And I started talking to him. I talked to him about how when I was a little bitty kid and I was reading Legion of Superheroes, and I cut up the big Treasury edition and glued it to my walls, and he laughed at that. And he made me, just by the conversation, want to buy the print.
Right.
And, I got to know this guy. He said he would do the channel. He do an interview here, but I sent emails. He never responded. I would have loved to have had an online conversation with you guys and Mike Grell. I don't think there's an unkind word to say about the man,
Yeah. And I imagine, like, when you sent those like emails, like he is a very busy man, and
Sure.
it's not like he is deliberately ignoring it. He just has a long schedule.
It could be that. It could be the fact that I'm very outspoken about my political leanings. I don't hide the fact that I'm conservative here. It could have been that. I don't care. I don't care. If I don't know what the reason was. He didn't say no, you fascist motherfucker, or anything like that. So, and that's not going to change the fact that Green Era Longbow Hunters is one of the greatest stories ever told. Or the fact that the 70s Legion of Superheroes is one of the greatest eras of superhero comics of all time. It's not going to change my mind. And I'll tell you what, as Dark Admiral is pointing out here, Neil Adams is a bit of a wingnut. It was a mixed bag when I met him. Yeah, he was. And I actually did a mocking show on here, shit Neil Adams said. Because he would put out tweets that were just ridiculous. So that does not change the fact that he wrote some of the greatest Batman stories, or drew some of the greatest Batman stories of all time. Deadman was a lot of fun. He and Denny O'Neil brought DC Comics into the modern age, because I want to say Weisenberg, I might be off on this one, was stuck in the 50s. The DC, the people who controlled DC Comics at the time were stuck in the 50s, and Neil Adams kept saying, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. And he and Denny O'Neil actually pushed making Speedy a junkie before Marvel Comics wrote their Spider-Man, where Harry Osborn was a junkie. DC could have been the first to the fucking punch many times. Warner Brothers keep shooting themselves in the foot. DC, Warner Brothers had Batman and Superman movies. Why didn't we get a Wonder Woman? Why didn't you connect that to Justice League? They could have done the shared universe much earlier, 20 years before Marvel did. It's ridiculous. Yep. Ridiculous.
Oh, very much.
Right.
Yeah, like, as we have observed over the years with Warner Brothers track records, they are not very good shepherds to DC Comics. And what would really hurt them, is they should have actually found someone as a not a mediator, a facilitator, that actually encourage them to not be so, and not be narrow-minded, if you will, and actually allow the creators to do the projects that they want to do, and it would have actually caused them to beat Marvel Comics in creating a shared cinematic universe for their movies.
Yep. So Bad Comics Review is saying John Byrne was really cool to me because I only had one comic for him to sign. The guy in front of me had a stack despite a 10-book limit. I think Byrne talked to me so he could rest his wrist. If you have less things to sign, for some reason they do have more time to converse. I talked with Robert Venditti, and I do believe I still have them. I hope I still have them. I might have sold them in desperation. But I had Hawk World #1 and 2, Volume 1 and 2 signed by Robert Venditti and sat there, talked about it.
Nice.
Hawkman was one of the greatest comic books written in the last 15 years. Easily.
Yeah, every time I go to my local comic book convention, I still have a blast of having conversations with Randy Emberlin.
Do you know who's not? Marguerite Bennett. Marguerite Bennett was very kind. She was fun to talk to. She did Bombshells at the time.
I still want to meet her. Want to meet and have a conversation with her.
My daughter's an artist. And I said, yeah, my daughter draws. She's very well. I said she draws well. She colors awesome. And I will stick to my guns on that. Not as a father, but as somebody who reads and reviews comics. My daughter's one of the greatest colorists I've ever seen. She does not use digital. She is straight up pencil and such, and she creates a light. You bought one of the pictures. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She creates lighting out of shading and just it's amazing. It's amazing the stuff that my daughter does with colors.
Yeah, and that actually reminded me of Klaus. That was what people thought like it was all like 3D animation, but no, it was all hand drawn 2D art and animation. And the reason why it looked 3D is they actually used like a new lighting technique, to really sell that 3D look, but it's still hand drawn and 2D.
Oh, Jimmy, what's up? Oh my gosh, it's been a year or two. Come on, man. Cinema Cork saying Shadowman had a 2018 series that was pretty solid. Yeah, they changed them up, didn't they? I blame the video game. I don't know if blame is the right term, but the Shadowman video game, he wasn't wearing the blue costume or anything like that, and they made him more voodoo. I guess you mentioned that there was an identity change. Oh, Dom stepped away, I guess. But yeah, I that's what Dom was telling me. I haven't read the later Shadowman. I just read the original stuff, and so yeah, I played the video game though. That was awesome. I would love to get back to that. Scotty Young was great and was fantastic with my nephew, picking with him, joking around. He made a fan for life that day. Yeah, they just talk.
Yeah. Like I said, every time I go to a convention, I find like Randy Amberlin, like and his wife, like they're a blast. That's like I have a conversation with, like even like outside of comics. Like he's just a very, very chill, down to earth dude. And he even him and his wife they actually like were head of the camp. Yeah, where essentially he teaches kids like through adults of how to draw comics and the like.
Yeah. Oh, I met one of the people I met at a convention. It was before it blew up, but I was kind of very dismissive. This young lady was there, and she was talking about her book. Oh yeah, you see, it's really good. It's steampunk, and I was like, oh, okay, steampunk. And I'm talking. It turns out I'm talking to the person who did Lady Mechanica. And I was so fucking dismissive. I was like, I'll listen to her, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, steampunk. Threw it in there. Okay. Now I look back and I'm like, what a dumbass. Oh, what a dumbass. This
right?
In retrospect, it's like, I was like, God damn it. I was talking, it was like the beginning of Lady Mechanica. There you go. All right. So, whoops.
Okay. Well, Lady Mechanica's a good series.
Yeah, I know now. But yeah, I was seeing steampunk everywhere, and I'm an old man, even at 36 or whatever, I don't know, I might've been 40 on it. But I just remember being so dismissive of it because it was another steampunk thing.
Right. Yeah, but
figure.
Well,
that telephone, it'll never take off.
Oh no. Only every now and then, I lament that I did not get a chance to actually meet and have a conversation with Jim Shooter before he kicked the bucket. Just have a conversation with him and to thank him for being a major inspiration for me But for me, I'm pursuing a career for like in sequential arts and as an editor as well.
I never met him. I got a true believer out of Stanley as he was walking by. And it was just, he points out, hey, true believer. And he keeps going. I was like, okay. He's this little man walking by. Hey, okay. my life is awesome now. I can have that. But never talked to him. Never went out and actually got something signed or something like that. But as he was leaving the MegaCon, okay. Same thing happened with Margot Kidder, Dennis DeYoung, and I do remember those two. They were just passerbys, like they were walking out. It's like, okay. Oh, before I was actually able to appreciate of whom I was talking, I met, God dang it, what is his name? The creator of Green Lantern. This was so long, and the name is escaping me. I know in the chat somebody's putting it in right now. Freaking hell, old man.
Oh wow! Oh, Darkly. Oh, you got a chance to meet the Texera. Neat.
It was that. Yeah, it was the original Green Lantern creator.
Really?
Yeah. I was at
No question. Wait, Alan Scott or how?
Alan Scott.
Oh, nice.
It was, I'm looking, it was Martin Nodell.
Yeah, because it could have been Gardner Fox.
No. But he was at this convention I went to. I was doing it for a comic book shop down in Florida called Coliseum Comics. They're huge now. They were not huge when we were there. And the guy's just little old man walking around, and he goes and he's talking, and he's just looking through boxes and such, and does his thing, walks off. We talk comics for a while, and I watch him, and he goes over, and it was kind of open. It wasn't like the big display things. And I see him go over, and he sits down right in front or right behind a table with Alan Scott behind it. And Phil comes back. No, it was Brennan. It was his brother. He comes back, and I say, yeah, that guy came over. He stopped. I guess he's a Green Lantern artist. And he literally said he was the original. So it was like, okay. That was 1989, 1990, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Nodell created Green Lantern and Pillsbury Doughboy. Boy, that family tree got weird. But yeah, it was just like I had no sense of it, you know. I liked comics back then. I loved comics back then, but I was only a reader, you know. It's like I didn't start picking up reference books. I didn't start picking up books that taught me about the comic book industry and all that kind of stuff.
The history behind it.
So, yeah, which I love doing now. As a matter of fact, I had one book on, nobody bid on it though. It was the history of war comics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well.
As much grief as Liefeld gets, the dude stopped by while I was thumbing through a long box and BS'd with me for like 15 to 20 minutes. It's awesome.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One. Oh, go on ahead. I'm sorry. I'm taking up the conversation.
Even though I won't be able to get a chance to talk to Shooter, may he rest in peace. Mm-hmm. I do want, one of these days, I want to meet and have a conversation with Bob Wake.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, much like Shooter, like the guy kept himself in good shape.
Bob Wake is a beast. He's big. That man definitely lifts. I hear he made comic books in the middle of going to the gym.
Look at Jim Steranko. He may be older, but the guy kept himself. But that guy's still shredded too.
Okay, what are we looking at? Tick Zero was super cool. He told me to throw out my Penthouse comics that he did work for. He had me rolling. Okay. Yeah, some of those. I've seen some of those, for the articles. What am I looking for here, Austin? Looking up bad comic reviews. Nodell created. Okay, we got that. Garner. Put a different cover on it and tell him it is a classic reprint with newly discovered pages. Okay, what are we doing?
Oh wow. Oh wow, Quinn. So the creator of Captain Canuck visited your local comic book stores?
Oh, that's nice. You're wrong. The creator of Captain Canuck visited. Okay. The shop I used to go to in Longwood, Florida, George Perez went to a lot. And one time I'm picking up my Infinite Countdown. And it's one of these, actually it was to my left. It was one of these situations.
Yeah,
there's George Perez. And so, I ended up doing, it was a conversation, but it also seemed like it was an interview because people just kind of gathered. I mean, it wasn't like, I'm in a comic shop. I'm not in a freaking MegaCon where everybody's gathering. We've got microphone like Charlie Kirk or anything. But we're just having a conversation and people just started listening in, and I'm asking him questions about, I do believe the return of Donna Troy. And I said, well, okay, they're bringing her back. They're writing her. What the honest F are you doing? Just, you know what? I'm too tired. Just get the hell, get down. There you go. Now you're being a good boy. All right, there you go. All right. Yeah. That was my daughter, Elizabeth.
all right.
No, it's the cat climbed on the counter. But yeah, and it was really cool. He just sat there talking, and I asked him about, Donna Troy's a character that you had a lot to do with creating who she is. We all know about the story with how Donna Troy became a thing. Originally, Bob Haney thought that Teenage Wonder Girl was a separate entity from Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman comics, but it's just her as a younger person. So she brought in Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl didn't have an identity. He slapped Donna Troy on it. I got that book finally, yay. And I do believe that George Perez, Marv Wolfman, they had a lot to do with creating who Donna Troy was. And I said, well, what do you think when they take a character and, it's Troika now, and it's this, they seem not to have anything to do with it. Do you ever look and go, guys, you're screwing up my thing? And he goes, no. He says, I've got a job to do. I do it. And after that, I'm not the first person who wrote or drew a lot of the characters I've done. So there's probably somebody who's looking at my work saying the same thing. And I'm thinking, doubt it. But he was really kind. And then he just kind of looked. He goes, you want me to sign that? And I said, yeah, here you go. And he just, there you go. I just kept handing him the books that were in my files that had his name on it. He was very, very kind. Very kind about. Really good guy. Yeah. That was a really good moment. By the way, I cried at his usual eulogy. I stepped up to talk about what, because they were saying, well, if you were a fan of his, you want to step up, talk about what. I didn't know the man personally. And I said that. I said, I have no idea, because there were people who knew him. Like the Lesters knew George Perez. I just knew his work. And still, as I was talking about, tears. Yeah. Let's see. Steranko was an awesome. His booth got so crowded that he stood on a chair and told his stories and stuff like that. Jim Steranko may be the coolest man on earth. They say I'm the most cool. No, that's Jim Steranko. Let's see. If I looked up and saw a modern comic writer at the long box next to me, I'd slowly back away like I just found an IET on the side of the road. Oh, you're Marika Tamaki. Yeah, I better go now. I may be imprisoned. Yeah.
Well, if I hear Gil Simone is visiting a shop, I'll be there. There's a singer from the distance.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I met Gail Simone, I could talk to her about stuff. I mean, I don't like a lot of her modern stuff. I looked forward when Plastic Man came out. I was like, all right, Gail Simone writing Plastic Man. I like Gail Simone's writing in some things. I love Plastic Man. What the fuck is Wang? Why were you making Wang a thing? No! It's like, wow, that's so Wang. Wang is dick. That's what Wang is. And she's got that all throughout the freaking book. Stop trying to make Wang a thing. It's already a thing.
Yeah, I used to be a fair small, but not so much as time went on, especially with how she got into the comic industry. As you realize, was the whole thing with women refrigerators is bunk.
Yeah. But hey, look, I'm going to give her credit for the Birds of Prey. I'm going to give her credit for Villains United. You know, it was good stuff. Good stuff.
And also, like adding on to that, like she did do Deadpool as well.
Okay.
And,
Let's see.
But I will say with Birds of Prey, like that wasn't like originally her title. That was Chuck Dixon. Like Simone, no, she took over like after Dixon.
Yeah, but she did very well on it. It became a different entity, and I got to admit that Gail Simone, I like Gail Simone's Birds of Prey better than Chuck Dixon. Don't hate me. I did. It was just, it changed, and I think it became. I think it became its own entity, rather than a part of a Bat universe. Just throw little Debbie cookies behind you. To be fair, I'd probably have the little Debbie. Oh, we just got these little Debbie's. They're like birthday cookies kind of things. The little moon pies. They were delicious. I spoil my bird. My bird does like he loves frosting. And I actually thought, you know what? I think Pistachio would love Star Crunches, which is my favorite little Debbie thing of all time. And then I thought, no, he would love it, but then he would die because of the chocolate. So let's not get that, you know. And I found these things because they were white icing and everything, and he loves those things. Anyway, so do I. Let's see. I have a signed script of Clean Room, says Undead Quinn. I don't know. Okay, a modern day writer or let's say a woke writer or artist you would not mind meeting to talk about some of the good stuff they wrote. Like, would you like to meet Kurt Busiek and talk about Marvels? Would you like to meet Mark Waid and talk about Kingdom Come, or did I just get those two mixed up? Yeah, I would like to talk Legion of Superheroes to Mark Waid, because that man knows everything. You know, I think that would be fun. It would be kind of hard to mention the whole Comicsgate thing and the fact that he's a douchebag, but yeah, a meeting with or without criminal charges being the result. Exactly. Yes, a sit down, talk about being a geek. Who would you like to talk about? Or here's a question: if I did manage to get one of them to come on the channel, would you guys be able to be polite and talk about comics? My friend from junior high school loves Little Debbie's. Later in life, he married someone named Debbie. Well, there you go. Was she little? Good question. Yeah, but do you have somebody like that? Could you meet a woke artist or writer and be able to have a conversation?
Again, like with this, I mean, with Busiek, like going from either like a classical liberal or a modern who leans liberal to a leftist.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather. Hey.
Apparently, he's having cat trouble.
I'm making sure she doesn't try or use the couch as a scratching post, but that's not the point. I would rather have a conversation with Busiek than Waid. Because again, like you're hearing like Busiek, change, like even blocking his own son, having dissenting viewpoints of his.
Yeah.
Like that's disappointing to hear. But I will but he has much like with Neil Adams, and I was like, who too unfortunately drank the Kool-Aid. Like he made objectively quality stuff that people still talk as
Okay.
time went on.
All
And
right.
as for Kingdom Come, that was Ross. He did the writing and besides the art, Wade Wade just assisted him in cleaning the dialogue.
Okay. Undead Quinn
And
says, I met John Layman. He tried to sell me a black Star Trek. Like, pitch you on black Star Trek?
really,
That would just seem, that would, you know what? That would seem absolutely antithesis to Star Trek. An all anything Star Trek is not Star Trek. The whole point about Star Trek was that we got past all of that shit. And so having an entire black cast or an entire white cast or an entire Asian cast of a ship full of people of one race would actually be anti-Star Trek.
yeah, very anti-Star Trek.
Freaking ridiculous. Yeah, but that's weird. The book was called Outer Darkness. Oh, well, Lord.
Oof.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
because
tears.
of course, like with how people are just throwing or using the words like first so haphazardly, like what they tend to ignore or even embrace is diversity of thought and expression. Because like that's the type of diversity that people have lived with for decades.
So Bad Comics is saying it would be hard to hold an actual conversation with a lot of them because they get mad quickly and at pretty minor stuff. Constantly walking on eggshells make it hard to have a conversation.
I mean,
I
you're
talked.
not far off.
Go ahead.
And that actually remind me of I remember being in a conversation with a friend of Jason Pearson. And at first like it was genial, like but then like we talked, then we went on to Pearson how much we miss him, but then like he made an offhanded comment because like he actually made a critique on this lady who was like one of the new bloods was like in the comic book industry, and he was giving her honest but she took it as an attack. And that actually ties back to his overall like critique of the comic book industry, and people just like went after him, but he didn't. And like to his credit, he didn't back down. No, like, but I remember like in the conversation, like in the back of my head, I was thinking, you say you're his friend, but to make a comment that's really rude.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I was going to ask something along this line right here. Bring someone back from the dead. Who would you talk to? Who would you like to have a conversation as far as the people who are not with us anymore?
I mean, it'll be too soon. I would actually love to have a conversation with Mr. Steve Ditko.
Okay. He wouldn't have it, but okay.
Well,
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I found an interview.
Yeah.
I actually found a video
Just
where
a conversation, yeah.
Yeah, this was a conversation. And I like from the video, like he's actually very cordial.
There is a video / movie out there. I was thinking of maybe doing EFAP for it. It's called Searching for Ditko or Searching for Steve Ditko. And it's about these comic book fans that, Steve Ditko kind of removed himself from everything, and they just wanted to go find him and talk to him, and he wouldn't talk to him, even though they were making the movie about him. Let's see. It was no half bad. John Layman gave signed. It was not half bad. John Layman gave a signed copy of Chew since I got a pin of Demon Chicken. Okay. Let's see. Mars is supposedly a bit of a prick. It's bad when the people that run his booth warn you about him. It's a shame because I loved the Herald ordeal in Silver Surfer. Yeah, Ron Mars was one of the milkshake guys as well. My whole
Yeah.
thing also, oh, well, women are treated so badly and they were treated so badly. All women were treated so badly, blah, 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 blah. Bitch, you've been in the freaking comic book industry now for 40 years. You could have done something 20 years ago about it, and obviously you didn't. These these guys who stepped up and were all bullshit about you gotta believe Heather Anton. You didn't give a fuck. If you're saying it was that bad, you didn't do shit, Mark Wade. You didn't do shit, Kurt Busiek. You didn't do shit, Ron Mars. Go f yourselves with all that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
They were the ones that caused it, if you think about it. Then,
Oh yeah, very much. Oh, Dave Steven, not a bad choice, Black Spider. Yeah, actually, actually, I would actually bring him back too. Besides Ditko, another person I will actually resurrect, right, to have a conversation. You know, besides like Jack King Kirby. Yep, I would love to have a conversation with. I should not be. Dang, I should not. Oh, I almost, I almost blanked on her name. Dang, but Metamorpho's a creator.
okay.
Creator. Wait, Ramona. Let's see. If I can, let me bring her up. Let's see. Ah, yeah, Ramona Freyden. Yeah, I would love to have a conversation with Ramona Freyden.
Okay. Bob Haney. He was involved in Metamorphose creation.
Creation.
And, yes, thank you. I think that there's a lot of questions I would have for him. There was a lot of stuff I would love to talk to him about. He was in charge of writing the Teen Titans. And
that's true.
I would love to ask him, was there ever a moment? Because it's very much, hey, fellow kids, you know, really the original Teen Titans, fun book. I love it. It's just, that is how it goes. It's very much, hey, fellow kids. I would love to have a conversation about what he would like to, would he, if he had it now, would he want to do a better narrative? You know, yeah. I think that would
Mark
be
Grunwald,
good.
he would also like be fun to have a conversation.
You know what? I get nervous about asking people stuff, but now I'm thinking I want to ask Jeanette Kahn to come on. I want to see if I'll tell her small channel. But I would love to talk to Jeanette Kahn about the whole implosion, replay, you know, the saving of DC Comics. Because ultimately the gist of it is, you know, she came in and she wiped out a few titles, and they were going to do different. Like DC Comics was doing reprints up the yin, and she changed that. And then, of course, she started the DC explosion, which got messed up by an ice storm and bad shipping, and it became the DC implosion. One of my favorite reference books, by the way, is the DC implosion. I was very lucky that Eric had gifted me a copy of that.
Nice.
He said he had a couple, and he gifted me a copy, and it was really good. It's a very dry book because it's very much about numbers, but the story in between is actually very interesting about how DC Comics was on the low, and she raised it just to have it fall, just to pick it back up again. And she did that because of Jim Shooter pissing a whole bunch of artists and writers off at Marvel. And she was able to pick up John Byrne, George Perez, Marv Wolfman, Frank Miller. You know, she was able to pick up all these creators, and they obviously they turned DC Comics. I would love to hear her side of the story and talk about that. Lev Gleason would probably be a fun conversation about what not to do in comic publishing. Yeah, man.
Chapter House Comics. Chapter House Comics is still active, and it brought back not just like Captain Canuck, but also they did a new comic book series for Phantoma.
Okay. Lev Gleason, if you go to like the comic book museum or something, they've got or they used to have an entry like that big about all these about all these books that they produced. But you could say the same thing about a lot of them. Dell was one of the two big titles. It was DC and it was Dell. You know, Marvel is Timely were barely making the rounds. It wasn't until Marvel that Timely really hit. They were a copy house, Timely Comics. Oh, look, DC is doing this. We should do that. People are doing Westerns. Let's do Westerns. People are doing Spacemen. We should do Spacemen. People are doing crime. We'll do crime. Timely / Atlas was not the house of ideas. And Dell was actually bigger than them for a while. And Dell disappeared into Gold Key, and Gold Key disappeared by the 1980s. So, yeah, some of these publishers just got run out. They were cracking up and seemed relieved he wasn't around at the time. Oh, talking about, yeah. Jack Kirby, I would like to know if he tried drugs before. His ideas were out of this world. I have, excuse me just a second. I'll be right back. Oh, and I pulled the thing out with my foot. Please entertain the troops. I will just be a second. All right. There we go. I have a couple of Jack Kirby books. This is one of them. It's the Marvel Legacy of Jack Kirby. This is more of a coffee table book. Upstairs, I've got a Jack Kirby biography that really goes into his life. Now, on one, gosh, I love these books. Books about comics and comic book creators are just a lot of fun. But I remember in one that he very much was. He wanted to kind of be like a Picasso of comic books. He was a hippie, by the way. Yes, he went to World War II. Yes, he fought the Nazis. But he had the mindset of a hippie, and he liked to do a lot of experimental things. And he wondered why people limited themselves with the panels and such. Why people felt the need to just kind of conform. You know, if you could do anything in comics, then why aren't you doing anything in comics? You know, that was basically Jack Kirby's look at things. So I don't know if he was on drugs. I from everything I read about the guy, I would have to say no. Not that he might not have tried them, but I just don't picture this guy as a guy who is on drugs. I really don't. But one thing he did say was he wanted to be experimental with his art. Come on, focus. Here we go. Yeah. Let's see. Sadly, I don't know much about DC history.
Well, I was going to say to Black Spider earlier, like there's no shame in admitting that, because there are actually tons of like, but there is a DC encyclopedia as well as reference books that covers the history like of either DC Comics or the DC universe.
So you and I need to schedule stuff, and let's just start talking. I mean, you know, we've been doing that. You know, this is an hour and 58-minute show about Shadowman, where we talk for 45 minutes about Shadowman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you ask me? Actually, I want to ask you, like, what are the best? What are the best encyclopedias or even a reference book for the DC universe?
For the DC universe? Well, there's two out there. DC and Marvel both have it's like it tells you the year, and then it'll tell you like this is the first appearance of this, and this is when they got this creator and such like that. I think it's like DC through the years, Marvel through the years, something like that. That is possibly the best for both worlds. because at the very least you get the timelines and you get the who's and the what's and the whys. It's not narrative. It's not a narrative. I don't think DC has the biography of, like Marvel has their biography of Marvel. I have not seen DC doing the same thing. One book that I had, I do remember I sold it. I think I sold it to Vincent. But I had this giant book. It was DC Golden Age by Paul Levitz. And at first glance, it's straight up a coffee table book, because you turn it and there's like big pages of covers and everything. But the thing is underneath those big pages of comic book covers, there's also little ones. They've got a paragraph or two about the book itself. And those were very good. They did one Golden Age and Silver Age for DC and a Silver Age for Marvel. I don't remember getting a Golden Age for Marvel, but those were amazing as well, because there was so much information in just those little blurbs. But Marvel has their biography. So that one works. There's also, hold on, I've got to look it up for the title. There are also the ones that are individual characters. I know upstairs I've got basically it's the book that's the basis for Professor Marsden and the Wonder Women, where it talks about him and his creation of Wonder Woman. There's one for, hold on, let me get here. I know there's also one for Green Arrow that would do the same thing, where it's not a Green Arrow comic, but it's a book about that. The book that I picked up recently, The Great Comic Book Heroes, that it's by Jules Pfeiffer. That has half the book is basically talking about the characters that then they show stories of. So that one, Moving Target is the Green Arrow one. DC Comics Year by Year, Marvel Comics Year by Year are the other ones I'm talking about. You also have the Marvel biography, and Slugfest, by the way, is a lot of fun. Slugfest is about the Marvel DC rivalry. Great. That is a great read. That is a lot of fun to read. I've read that multiple times, because I'll go, wait a second, I want to read that one part, and I open it up and I go through the entire book. Same thing with the Marvel biography. That was pretty good. Let's see. I suspect that Bigfoot is sitting next to England. No. What is it? There were very few Valiant comics I enjoyed. The ones I enjoyed: Solar, Magnus, Robot Fighter, Ninjak, at least the first 5 or 10 issues. Huh. Well, we're here to say Shadowman is definitely worth a look. Any celebrity, actor, writer who you'd like to meet, past or present? I'd love to sit down with coffee and pack smokes with Rod Serling. I wouldn't mind.
Rod Serling. All right.
In all honesty, I wouldn't mind meeting Dennis DeYoung. I feel I lost my chance. Like I said, he was a pass by. I was going to say something, but I chickened out.
For me, it would have to be Bruce. That'd be Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox. Pre or post Parkinson's. I think he would be a nice guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Didn't DC just start a new history of the DC universe in July? No.
Yeah.
No.
Sure. Okay.
No. Well, they did. Mark Waid's writing it, and it's apparently from New 52 up.
It's not. Yeah. Let's just long story short. The new history is not all that good.
It's a YouTube channel. It's a YouTube video. I mean, I could take that and basically you just take the same pictures, it's the same information. And then there was the Justice League, and you had these characters, and then there was this guy, and you had these guys. It is the most basic of YouTube videos. It's like a YouTube video about DC Comics made by NerdSync or Valiant Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Where they'll tell you the basics, but they won't go into detail. You know, one of those things.
Yeah. Excuse me. Legends of the DC universe did this better.
Have a go in, Dark Admiral.
Than new history. Legends of the DC universe did this attempt way better rather than new history of the DC universe.
Yeah, I remember the history of after Crisis. They rewrote the history. It was necessary then. They just rewrote the entire universe.
Yeah. And, oh, yeah. Who's Who, as well as the handbook of the Marvel Universe, like they were,
Hmm.
and still are like very handy and real in introducing people like to the respective shared fictional universes. Now, I remember actually reading the DC Encyclopedia from the 2000s. Now, this was of course like before Flashpoint and New 52, where they released a new like DC Universe Encyclopedia to give people like an update of where each character is.
Oh, where's the book? I guess I don't know what I did with it, but I had the War Comics trade somewhere. But I honestly do not know what I did with it. It didn't sell, so I put it to the side. So what the hell is beside me here? What is this? Oh, these are more rejects. Okay. Um, but yeah, the one I'm trying to find is actually a pretty good book, but I can't find it. And it was all about war comics. And that one was pretty good, pretty decent. Um, let's see. Oh, real quick here. I'm hoping they send me the big batch of comics I ordered. I sent a message, say, hey, you got a ETA? I'm trying to plan for next week. And they say, oh, we didn't even send those yet. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. You know, it's only been 3 weeks. But I did get some books in that are going to be in next week's auction. Then they sent me some I didn't order. I guess it was just, they were like, oh, we have these hanging around. So here you go. Goodness gracious. If you ship comics, you don't have to put this much goddamn tape on them. I don't know. I stopped doing it, putting a lot of tape on when I noticed when I was trying to get the tape off, it bent the comics. You know, that's kind of counter to what you want to have happen. All right. See that blur? Bigfoot got too close to the camera again. Oh, I see it. I see what you're saying. All righty. Let's see. I don't even know what this is right here. Hold on just a sec. Anna Mercury, Facundo Pericio, Warren Ellis. You ever? I have no clue. And then, well, you know what? And here's Karen Gray.
Oh.
And here's one I recognize. Dark Tower, the Gunslinger Born. That's issue number 1. These were just
that's a good one.
Fantastic Four number 394 with a sealed poly bag. Get a piece of the action. There we go. And this is Ed Brubaker's Fatale, issue number 2.
Classic.
Ed Brubaker being a decent writer and all. Here is issue number 3. Now, this is a nice gifted book. Lady Death. Don't see a number. There you go. New England Gothic. Okay, by, what's this? Isagoth Studio. Okay. And then we've got Razor Cavalcade Catalog. It says the Razor sealed poly bag with catalog. Oh, okay, so it's a comic book, and it's got the catalog of the. There you go, and it is a sealed poly bag. There you go.
Yeah, from the comic publisher London Knights.
And then She, issue number 8. There you go. And these are the ones I actually ordered. They just came in today. Man, I'm expecting about 140 comics and I sent them a message, and they just sent me one. Oh, we didn't ship those yet. You created a freaking. They created the labels. They just hadn't shipped them, and it's been a week where it just said, label created. Let's see. I don't know. Well, no, I'm not going to end with that one. At least I'll end on these two. These two are good. I'll end on these two. Spider-Man, Punisher, Sabretooth. These are the ones I actually ordered. Star Spangled War Stories, issue number 203, starring the Unknown Soldier. We've got Star Spangled War Stories, and this is issue number 145, starring Enemy Ace, of whom I'm becoming a big fan, tell you the truth. Then we have Star Spangled War Stories with Enemy Ace, and this is issue number 141. And then we have issue number 146. Star Spangled War Story starring Unknown Soldier, issue number 200, and what looks like 200. Issue number 200. There you go.
All right.
And Star Spangled War Stories, issue number 178. And then War is Hell, issue number 10, because you got to get Marvel in on the war game. This is basically, what was it? What's it called? The one with Creature Commandos. This is Marvel's version of that book.
Oh, all right.
What the hell is that? I actually have the first appearance of Creature Commandos upstairs, and I can't think of Weird War Stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
And War is Hell is their version of that. And here's issue number 11. Focus. There you go. So just a few books. This was a new guy I was testing out to see if he worked out. This took 3 weeks to get. He said he was out of town, but it took 3 weeks to get him, which is, less than what some of you guys have been waiting for me to ship. So I appreciate the patience, by the way. But I did order another batch of books from him. He had an auction. It was it's my worst nightmare. It's a party that nobody came to. I was the only visitor. So basically everything I put a bid down on, I got. And so in the next couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I hope it's not that long. It should got some decent. Oh, dude, the guy had some decent books. If anybody else was interested in them, I think it would have been crushing. But let's see if I can't find what's coming up. Yeah, I just paid for these. Turok, Son of Stone, number 90, 92, 105, 107, 123, 127, 128, 129. Twilight Zone 34, 42, 50. These are all the 1970s. 56, 72, 79, 85, 90, and UFO in Outer Space number 14 from 1978. So yeah, that will be coming later. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff on the horizon. I'm waiting for quite a few books from like I said, about 140 books from another one. So there you go. Let's see what we got before we take off here. Because we have, it's 1:12 where I am at, which would make it all the way to 10 o'clock where you're at, right?
Yeah, well, right now it's 10:12.
Well, there you go. What's NerdSync even doing anymore? I don't know if they're actually a thing. I don't know. Ellis did some great stories. Clone was great, says Black Spiders. She is awesome. Unknown Soldier is awesome. Yes, he is. I only buy Joe Kubert's Unknown Soldier. Well, hoity-toity. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us, even beyond the Shadowman stuff. I actually have fun with the after parties of all these things. It reminds me of just the nice natural hangouts we used to do. Let's see, what is next week? Let me check our Twitter page here so we could find out what we are talking about next week as well. Bum bum, come on, baby, let that good time roll. Let's see. we've got Fallen Angel, Spider-Man Fever, Mantra. Wait, I thought, okay, in Shadowban. So next week is Meta Baron, the Meta Barons. I have never read this. I barely even heard about it.
Well, all I can say to you is you'll be in for a ride.
Okay, so it's good, it's wacky, it's wild. What's
It's good.
And then after that, it's the Champions miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, it's not Champions, Marvel Champions. It's Champions. There used to be a RPG, a role-playing game called Champions, and they made a miniseries out of it, and we're going to check that out. And
well, to be fair, its modern incarnation is the Champions Online video game.
Okay, all right. And then the Trial of the Flash from the 1970s, 1980s run. And then Scourge of Captain America, then the 1980s Falcon, then Action Comics #1. We're going to go through not just we're going to go through that whole book. There's like 5 or 6 different stories in there, so we're going to check it out. And Gen 13 miniseries, Film Force, Rising Stars. Wow, Shadowman was, okay, I see, I misnumbered him. Shadowman was number 11. Actually, next week is not. It's Devil Dinosaur 1 through 5. Whoops, sorry. Then Dial H for Hero, Oz, The Gathering of Heroes, Elongated Man, Books of Magic, Camelot. You know, we're adults. We could do whatever the hell we want. We've got a list. We'll do what we want when we want. All right. If we want to do Meta Barons, we'll do Meta Barons, and then we'll get to the other one later. You keep referring to the good old days, the Hangouts, as if you don't do Hangouts at the second half of every stream still. I know. Okay, I'll explain what I mean. And Dom, you might actually remember me doing this. There were times where I would just turn on the camera. I don't have a topic. The title might actually be, we're going to talk about whatever the hell you want to, something like that, because I have no idea. Or maybe I'll find one topic the last 5 minutes, and what ends up happening is I get a question. Okay, boom. I'll get a question from here, or somebody will make a comment, and that's what fuels the fire, and that's what pushes the live stream. It's very unstructured, but it was very much, gosh, I'm going to sound so bad here. The channel was very much my voice. I have kind of relinquished to the co-stars quite a bit, but it was very much that, and I kind of enjoy that. And through that also, Eric had comments, and he and RDV had comments. Dominic had comments, and the other Dominic, who will not sometimes stop commenting. It was really good. It was really good. That's what I mean when I talk about the old style, where I just turn on the camera and let's talk about whatever the hell you guys want. Meta Barons are like Star Wars and Games of Thrones put together. I'm sold. I'm looking forward to this one. I don't know how far we're going to go in, so I'm just going to start reading. And however far we get, let's talk about that.
I suggest reading the first 3 issues of Meta Barons.
Okay, at least we'll have that done. That sounds good. All righty, but with that, guys, thank you very, very much for hanging out. Tomorrow is next week is Meta Barons. We're going to do that. But what is tomorrow? Tomorrow, I kind of dig you. Tomorrow, I just posted, or I'm about to post, Lobo's first appearance over on my new channel. Let's see, videos. I love comics, tier lists, season 14. And tomorrow will be Millie the Model. And then on Friday is Wonder Woman. So we got some good covers. Dom, I invite you to the party, but you refuse to come. You're still invited tomorrow, though. All right. All right, guys, once again, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Don't forget to do all the clicking, the liking, the sharing, and all that. Going over to Ko-Fi, where you can actually interrupt our plans completely, put $5 in the tip jar and say, I want to see your thoughts on this story. So long as it's not going to get my channel shut down, we will do it. Meaning, we're not going to do Lost Girls. Cherry Pop-Tart, off the table. you know, that kind of thing. But still, go on over to Ko-Fi and tell us what to do. With that, thank you very much for hanging out with us. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
See you all.